everyone. Welcome to another great tutorial. I hope that you say it's great, of us going through Schoology. Now, I have previously done a video where you can just look at Schoology and create the assessments. You can see that video here. But this time around, we're actually going to go on the back end, and I'm thanking Miss Becky for allowing me to use her class, and her students are actually active in a live testing session because I'm going to show you a lot of the information that you can get once the test is complete or even during the test to help you out with Schoology. Now, the first thing is some of the things that I'm talking about is for the basic subscription, which is the free subscription you get with Schoology. The other things that I'm talking about and my account is the enterprise, which is the school-wide purchase system. So there might be some things that are available in the enterprise that's not necessarily available in the actual basic. The very first piece, and I talked about this briefly, is the difference between a green puzzle piece and a blue puzzle piece, and that's your test and your assessment. And what happens is when you have the assessment, you're able to do just a little bit more. They have more question types and different things. But we are definitely going through the blue puzzle, which is the assessments piece today. One of the first things that's always asked is, hey, the submission or the publishing. You do that from this page, and you actually go over to the settings and you go to edit. When you edit it, this is where you actually do your submissions. Your submissions are here for enable or disable. You can also make a password available if you need to do that, and you can do all of those things. I'm hitting cancel because our kids are still testing. And I'm actually going to go in and look at the actual test at this point. Your setup is still the same, where you can turn around and look at all of the things that you have here. You can change your assessment tools. But like I said, we're going to go and look more so into the part of now that they're testing. So once again, here's your questions with their point value. But right here is grading. And in grading, I can see already from the students who've submitted the averages of our test questions and scores. So I can see question 7 is not graded because it's short answer and it has an essay. But question number 2, there's a very low average score on that, and I'm not getting the information quite needed from our kiddos. If I scroll down, question 4 has a very high rate. So they actually answered and did that one very correctly. So I can kind of briefly see by question almost which questions are being mastered and which questions are not.
If I click back on radio
onto the actual question score, I can see that they give me how many students need actual grading, but they give me which students made which point value and how did it work, which is actually great details for me to understand who really understood the question and who did not. I'm going to go ahead and go back and look at this in a different aspect in just a second. But if you click the question problem, it's the exact same thing. Here, this is an enterprise, I believe, item where it tells me the actual live progress of where the students are, what's submitted and what's not submitted on this page. And then on this next one is the reporting. And reporting is not available until after the test has been finished, and it will give you all of the information for that, your kids and your grades. We're going to go back over to grading. I want to show you another important piece, and this at this grading screen. If you have a student who submitted incorrectly or had a technical error, you can go over here and go from by question to by student. The by student now gives me each student status and exactly what's happened, the attempts and the last modification and your time. So this child here took 8 minutes when Rika took 23 minutes. And it can kind of give me that information. So let's say Marwan actually had an emergency and had to leave. Therefore, I can turn around and hit unsubmit. The reason why is my teacher has utilized the submission one-time button. Once you make a decision, it's done and it's over. You can unsubmit, so it doesn't count that submission against them. However, they must take the entire exam again. They cannot just go back and fix 1 or 2 questions. If you unsubmit, it will unsubmit the entire exam. You can also delete, but we're not going to delete today. So that's a trick piece right there for by student. And then we're also looking at actions, because you can always do your edit, or you can do print assessment. Multiple questions per page, 1 question per page, and confirm. And we can also, I'm going to, for this, add the answer key. This is great if you have students who are coming in person who work better pencil to paper, or you're dealing with modification or send students and they want to turn around and be able to write on the paper. You have it actually here in print view, and you can kind of see how they have the box for checking and the layout of how they do. And I want to go back real quick, because you can turn around and put a standard text, and then you can have questions that actually lodge and bridge to that same text, so you're not having to put the text over and over and over again. Before I show you that, here's the rubric that was utilized for the essay. So that information is also in the test, because my teacher inputted the rubric on how to make the rubric, and so the students can see the expectation of how this is supposed to be answered and placed. Just so you can see, here is the answer key, and it looks exactly like the exam does, and it's right here with all of that information. I want to go back one more time to see if I can show you how in the setup, or no, it's in the questioning, where you can turn around and add a text here. This is where you add text, and if you have a number of questions that go with that text, you add the text here and not in the question, and the text will be present, and then you can have like 4 or 5 questions that all link to that. So this hopefully has helped you out just a little bit, hopefully a lot of it, and it helps you kind of get to understand and utilize and play with Schoology in a more authentic, real way. So please, like I said, continue to play with your tests, continue to try to understand it. This is the preview. I'm just previewing what it looks like, so you can actually see what does it look like for students. Is it fair? Does it make sense? And all of those things. So thank you so much for joining. I'll check you next time.